It's a very culturally diverse city. I mean, there's all kinds of different cultures here now. This wouldn't have been true 50 years ago, but it is now. You take a ride on a tram and you'll hear 3 or 4 languages being spoken. It's a beautiful city. I mean, it's absolutely architecturally gorgeous, and it's got every kind of cultural attraction that you could be interested in, whether it's music, art, or even sport. You know, it's all here, and it's all in a European living context. The German word is Gemeinschaft, meaning teamwork. There's this whole attitude of everything has to be done for the common good, which I think has disappeared in America. America no longer does things for the common good. It does things only for profit. My name is John Charles Scalia, Sr. Obviously, it hasn't always been senior because you have to have a kid for that to happen. I was born in San Francisco, California, July 27, 1946. Graduated UCLA Law, practiced law in California for 45 years. I guess the first step is, why did I choose to leave, right? I get asked that so frequently, and when I tell people I'm from California, you know, lots of times I'll say I'm an American, but lots of times in a group, I'll just say I'm from California. Then they'll look at me and say, why did you come to Germany from California? I could see what was happening in America. I could see that the right wing was gaining traction, and even in a allegedly liberal regime in America, things just kept going that way. So I said, I want out of here. So my choice was between either Austria or Germany. I had gone to school in Vienna 50 years ago. And so I took an exploratory trip with my best friend, and we hit Munich, Vienna, and Prague. I was not going to settle in Prague because I was not about to learn Czech. So it was between Vienna and Munich, and it was close. It was almost a coin flip. I'm really glad I decided to live here because it's much more liberal than Austria, and it's a big country, and being an American, I am used to living in a big country. I've always been a voracious reader. And I've always thought a lot. I was an only child, so I had a lot of alone time to contemplate, cogitate, and I was at a very early age interested in politics. I was raised in a family of Republicans, but because I read and thought for myself, I decided that history was on the side of progressivism, and that meant I would be a liberal Democrat. My mom raised me to be free, so it didn't create any conflicts. And then I went to a Jesuit high school where, despite the image, they also encouraged thought. They encouraged you to think for yourself. So I've been very fortunate. I've been in an atmosphere where I was not bound by the conformity of society in terms of thought. I wrote in '65 in my college paper, I wrote that the Vietnam War was illegal and immoral. And this is back when most Americans probably didn't even know we were fighting there. I liked the Black Panthers. The Panthers get a terrible, terrible press in America, but they were actually good guys. So all of that contributed to my disenchantment with the political establishment. I should have stayed in Europe, but I didn't. I went back and I did the usual career, wife, kids, divorce, tragedy. And so then I got in a position where I could afford to leave, and things weren't getting better in America. They were getting worse, and actually they got even more worse after I left with the election of Trump, which is a complete disaster as opposed to a mitigated disaster. So that's why I left. The first thing I would say is know where you're going. Make sure that you know something about the country you are going to relocate to, its culture, customs, traditions, and most importantly, if you're really serious about relocating, make sure that you either know or will know or learn the language of the place you're going to, regardless of the fact that, for example, in Munich, I don't technically need to speak German because, as you can tell, even here, everybody on the street speaks English, okay? But if you really are going to be part of a country, you have to speak the language. In terms of social life, the best organization to join probably is called Internations. And Internations is all over the world. And you can join by computer from wherever you are before you get to wherever you are going. But they have interest groups for every interest you have, whether it's hiking, writing, any kind of sport, any kind of cultural activity. any activity under the sun, there's a subgroup in your city, in Internations, where you will find people that have the same interest. I mean, when you go from one first world country to another first world country, if you think you have culture shock, I don't know where you've been. I always laugh when I see Europeans writing about, oh my God, they kiss on 2 cheeks instead of 3, or there's two kisses instead of 3. I'm like, oh, give me a break. To me, it's utterly preposterous. I'm an American, and the only time I ran into culture shock here was on the golf course, and that was because I was in a tournament. And the German tradition is, if you're in a tournament, you have to keep the score of the other guy. And I'm like, in America, golf is considered to be a gentleman's game, and you're on your honor. And so I said, well, no, I shouldn't keep somebody else's score, And finally, I got agitated, I guess. And finally, the guy was at the start. He said, either you do that or you can't play. So that was the only time I ran into what I thought was really culture shock. It had to do with golf.